This is the semester review part 2. This is going to be dealing with the absolute value functions. These are the ones with the 2 bars. These are the ones that are always going to create a v. If it's positive in front of it, it's going to create that v. And if it's negative, it's going to create the v upside down. On these, the first thing you're going to do is identify your vertex. Just like we were doing with the quadratic functions, what's inside the absolute value is going to be for your x, and the number being added or subtracted at the end goes to your y. So there's nothing being added or subtracted inside, so it's 0. And then the number outside is a -3. And so that tells me our vertex is at 0, -3. The number on the outside tells us our slope, for lack of a better word. It's going to mirror on both sides, but if you go to the right, it will behave as the slope we just did on the linear. So it's going to be your rise over your run. And so unlike the quadratics, it's going to be a consistent change each time. This one is a 3/1, so that means I go up 3/1 each time. Now draw in that side. And again, I put arrows at the end. But now I got to do the mirror image for going back to the left. And when I do the mirror image, there it is. And, oops, I forgot to identify the domain and range. Domain on these is going to be -infinity to +infinity every single time. Range, you have to think about it for a minute. What's my high? Is it going? Does it have a lowest value or does it have a highest value? If it has a lowest value, it's going to be negative like this, -3 to +infinity. It will behave. It'll be opposite with a -infinity if it's the other way, and we'll see one of those before we're done today. So in this next one, we find our slope, or first find our vertex. Our vertex is going to be opposite of whatever's inside, just like we are currently doing. And then there was nothing being added or subtracted outside, so it's 0. So my vertex is right here. And then let's find our slope. Our slope is 3 again, so 3/1. And I do 3/1, 3/1, 3/1, 3/1. And I draw both sides in, put arrows at the end. Domain is going to be -infinity to +infinity because it is always on absolute value. Range, we have a lowest point, so again, like we had last time, the lowest point, we're looking at the y value, is 0. My highest point is infinity. So again, we're going to find our vertex, which is at opposite of this, which is -1, comma, same as that, +2. And then I'm going to behave with my slope to move away from there. My slope is 2, so 2/1, rise 2, right 2. For both sides, it mirrors. Oops, domain is -infinity to +infinity. Range, again, we have a lowest point, and our lowest point is 2 to +infinity. Okay, so number 8 is a little bit different. It has a -2, so that means instead of the graph going up, it's going to be coming down. We don't have anything on the outside being added or subtracted, so that means that our vertex is going to have a 0 at the end. We're going to do opposite of the -4, so that's going to be a +4. And then our slope is this time going to fall 2, go right 1. So you fall 2, go right 1, fall 2, go right 1, and mirror it on the left. And draw your arrows at the end. Okay, so on this one, again, our domain doesn't change. It is the same domain for all of these, negative infinity to positive infinity. Our range, on the other hand, doesn't have a low point that I can name. It's the lowest point it can go. It keeps going forever, so it's negative infinity, comma, our highest point is the y value for our vertex. So here is where we stop. So again, on your range is always low to high. So we're positive, so that means our graph is going to open up. We have both pieces of the vertex this time, so our vertex is opposite of the 1, so -1, comma, -4. Our slope is positive, so that means I'm going to rise 3, go right 1. And so from the vertex, what is that, -1, -4, I am going to rise 3, go right 1, rise 3, go right 1, over and over again. And draw in your 2 lines. Put arrows at the end. And our domain, since we are dealing with a function, is negative infinity to positive infinity. Our range is going from a low point to the high point. So the low point is going to be the y value of your vertex, so -4, comma. Our high point is where the arrows are, so that's the infinity. Number 10. We're missing the number on the outside, so on our vertex, we are at opposite of inside, so -3, comma, 0. And then we are going to move with our slope, so our slope is +2. So that means I'm going to rise 2, go right 1 each time, and do the same thing going to the left, mirroring the image. Draw in your lines. Make sure you include the arrows at the end. And now let's do our domain and range. So domain for all these functions is negative infinity to positive infinity. Range, this time the arrows are going up, so that means that we're going to find our low point is going to be the y value of your vertex. And the high point is the infinity. Guys, the last of the absolute value ones, just remember, if it's negative, it goes down. If it's positive, it goes up. Opposite inside of the vertex to get the vertex and the same sign for the outside.